In today's lesson, we are going to learn how to complete a periodic risk evaluation. We will start off by going to HCSIS at www.hcsis.state.pa.us. If you haven't already received one, you will be receiving a HCSIS login. If you are not already logged in, you will come to a screen where you will enter your login information as you would when you log into any site. We're going to start by pulling up the consumer that we are going to be completing a PRE for. First, you're going to click on Individual, Demographics, Demo, and you're going to enter the consumer's last and first name. And then click Search. Once the consumer is logged into the system, you can begin to complete your PRE. This is important to have this screen up while you're completing the PRE so that you can go back and forth from each screen and get the information you need to complete this PRE effectively. Start by entering the consumer's information into questionpro.com. You're going to put the date that you are entering the PRE, which would be today's date, your name, the participant's name, gender. If you don't already know so, go back to your demographics and take a look at what the gender is. Next, you're going to enter date of birth, and here again we can go back to geographics and we can see the date of birth is 06/09/1988. And we'll go ahead and just double check that. Okay. Next, you're going to enter the reason that you are completing the PRE, Periodic Risk Evaluation. We're completing this at intake because this is a new consumer to the adult autism waiver. Your role, which in the drop down should be selected as supports coordinator. The program that he is in is the adult autism waiver that should be selected. Now move to the next screen by clicking on Next. Next, you will be selecting the region in which the consumer resides in. Going back to demographics, you will see that they are in Philadelphia. If you click on Info, you can get info about the office closest to them. So here you will see demographics, you'll see Philadelphia again listed here. You would just go down to the bottom where it says organizational information and click on that. So the office in which they are residing is the Southeast office, and the location where they are is Philadelphia. So we're going to select the region based off of that. Next, we're going to begin to answer the questions as we went through when you completed your certification for PRE. So you're going to go through this list and check off anything that applies to the consumer. So if there was any police contact, any arrest, any charges pressed, had to go to court, probation, parole, any of these things, you would select them and then give more details on the next screen. This person has none of these as far as we are concerned, and if you wanted to check the baseline outcomes to see if there was anything located there, you can. SC notes, any incident reports that were filed if you're unaware of if this consumer on your caseload had any police contact. But in this case, he has none. And we know this from our initial intake. After you click for the next screen, we're going to be performing risk of harm to self evaluation to see if there's any risk of harm to self. Suicidal attempts, any inappropriate sexual behaviors, self-injurious behaviors. If you're not really sure of anything that happened currently, you can do one of two things, which would be to go to the plan. In HISCUS, click on Manage Plan. Make sure that the correct consumer that you are doing the PRE for is loaded. Click on View Modify Plan. You can go to the Functional section in the plan. In the drop down, you can select Understanding Communication. This is where you're going to find behaviors. And then you can look here and just see if there are any behaviors or any reminders of behaviors, where you can select harmful to self in this tab. So I don't see any harmful to self or harmful to others type of behaviors. Okay, you can click back. Okay, there's no self-injurious behaviors. Let's take a look here. Let's see, describe property behaviors. None of those are listed. And if you're not sure that anything currently took place, you can definitely give his behavior or her behavioral specialist a call. And if not from your knowledge that there's no behaviors or your supports coordination notes, then you would go ahead and come back to the screen and click on None. And then click on to the next screen. Unstable living. So based off of any observations you may have made through phone call, email, or in-person contact, is the person at risk to become homeless? Or do they have any other living conditions that you've noticed? So I've been at the consumer's home and everything seemed to be going pretty well, and there was nothing mentioned by the consumer or family. So I would click None and go to the next screen. On this screen, natural supports. So in this screen you would see if with respect to daily living, if there's a lot of stress, health or safety issues. These are unpaid natural supports, so this is not supports coordination or behavioral specialist. So if you notice that the consumer has a lack of support in the home or community, then you would take a look here and see what would cause that. Dysfunctional family dynamic, family and other support, enable harmful behaviors, lack of support. If you haven't noticed any of these or received phone calls from your behavioral specialist, community specialist, mom, or the participant, and to your knowledge there's nothing going on in the home, you would select None. Scroll down and go to the next screen. Next, you will see if there are any substance use or abuse. So you go through this list and see if there's any abuse of opiates, any of the pills that they're prescribed that's psychiatric, any illegal drugs, abuse of alcohol, they're drinking excessively or in excessive amounts. You find out that they use any illegal drugs, you would just select this and one of these options. In the next screen you enter more details. But if it's none, then you will not have an additional screen to address that, and click Next. Next, you're going to look at chronic medical conditions, obesity, diabetes, seizures, vision impairment, any of those things. And this is like chronic. So if they're wearing glasses and it's not chronic, then you wouldn't select any of these. Now, if you're not sure, you would definitely go back to the plan. We can leave the behavior screen by going down to Return to Plan Components. You can go to Health and Safety or medical information. For this purpose, we're going to use medical information. You're going to look and see what medical information is listed. High blood pressure is his diagnosis, so he has hypertension. So we can come back here and we can select hypertension. Scroll down to the next, to the bottom of the screen and click next. Because he has hypertension, you're going to figure out if his hypertension is being treated. Per his plan, he's taking his blood pressure medication daily. Mom gives Aaron reminders to take his pills, takes them by mouth, so he is, dealing with this and it's under control at this point. He would click on either there's no history of it or when he was diagnosed. Now, when I did the initial ISP, I was informed he was diagnosed just this year, so I would just put just this year he was diagnosed with it. Scroll down and click next. They're going to ask you a couple of questions about the condition. If you don't select a condition, you wouldn't get these additional questions, but they're asking about symptoms. I would say that symptoms are moderate, they're daily, they're not severe. He is receiving consistent therapy. He's taking high blood pressure medication. Are there any concerns? No, his condition is stable. He's drinking a lot of water, he's eating healthier, and he's taking medication. If you want to know if there's any concerns, you can definitely look in health and safety just to see if there are any risk factors. So you would go back to the plan, and this is only if you're not aware. Health and safety issues, you can kind of look at the general health and see if there's any health or safety issues from his hypertension. If you don't find any health or safety risk, then it is definitely safe to say that there are no concerns and he's taking his medication. Click next. Okay. Stressful life events. You're going to go through and just see if there's anything that just recently happened. A loss in the family, abuse in the family, neglect, sexual abuse, financial stress, marital or relationship stress if the adult with autism is married or they have parents that are married, any job stress when they're working. You would select this and enter more information. But at this time, there are no stressful life events. And the frequency would be no history. After further determination, we did go ahead and select other because mom has cancer, and that could be a stressful life event to the consumer. So you would just click on none directly for him and other and enter mom has cancer and is going through cancer treatment. And then you want to scroll down and click next. Now we're going to look at co-concurring medical mental health diagnosis. He is diagnosed with autism, but there are no further diagnoses of anxiety or by being bipolar and things of that nature. And if you would like to double check, again, you can just go back to the plan to double check this information. Just simply go into the plan, go into functional information. Actually, you want to click back and go to medical information. In medical information, you can scroll down and go to health evaluations, and you'll see just an eye doctor. He does see a psychologist, so he doesn't have psychiatry, meds, dentist, doctor. Also, in his current health status, you can see here what his diagnoses are. He is diagnosed with autism, major depression, general anxiety. You would go back here after doing that research and you would click on anxiety, depression. What else was listed here? phase of life problems. That is not an option here.